This is Rummy's Corner. On April 26, 2003, at the Foxwoods Resort in Mashantucket, Connecticut, former two-division world champion James "Lights Out" Toney challenged IBF cruiserweight champion Vassiliy Jirov. The undefeated 29-year-old champion was making the seventh defense of his title against the 34-year-old challenger. Toney's best years were believed to be behind him at middleweight and super middle, but he was on an 11-fight winning streak since making the transition into the cruiserweight heavyweight threshold. And Jirov was a career cruiserweight, but he entered the ring following a 14-month stretch of inactivity, his longest to that point. And even though this fight was happening at cruiserweight, it took place a little over a month after Roy Jones Jr. had won a lopsided unanimous decision against John Ruiz to win the WBA heavyweight title. So one of the big expectations going into this one was that the winner might be headed for a showdown with Roy for heavyweight glory. All of this added to the magnitude of the already inherently intriguing cruiserweight showdown. In the opening seconds of the fight, the general strategies became clear. Jirov was trying to apply pressure, and Toney was looking to move and counter. Toney was at times taking the initiative with his jab and looking to follow up with a right, and he was providing a mighty slippery target as Jirov was looking to press his attack. Jirov was having some success landing on the body, but Toney was exhibiting good defense and sneaking in some tricky counters. Early in round 2, they traded spirited combinations, and the intensity level was already electric. Jirov was trying to make things more physical, but Toney was maneuvering well in close quarters and difficult to pin down. The champion was landing with greater efficiency, but Toney was still cleverly exploiting openings to make him pay. Despite being outworked, Toney continued boxing effectively, and Jirov was setting a blistering pace. There was a lot of phone booth style scrapping, and both boxers were digging hard with every mean shot thrown. Early in round 3, Jirov was warned for a low blow by referee Steve Smoger, who was reffing his 105th championship contest. When the action resumed, Toney took the initiative and both boxers looked fresh as they continued battling. Much of the action unfolded in the middle of the ring, and this is where Toney's technical superiority shined brightest. Jirov was more effective when he had Toney cornered, but Toney was expertly pivoting out of harm's way before being fully cornered. Toney continued having success at center ring early in round 4, so Jirov was doing everything he could to try and crowd him in tight. But Toney again expertly transitioned things back to the location he preferred. At mid-range, Toney was jabbing well, he was slipping and countering, he was rolling with punches, and it was at times a damn fine display in the art of hitting without getting hit. At this range, Jirov was able to land some nice shots downstairs, and near the end of the round, Toney switched up to try and give the Southpaw champion a new look. Toney continued to command a tactical advantage at center ring in round 5, but despite being largely out-finessed, Jirov was forcing a feverish pace, and he was doing a better job getting closer to Toney where he frequently forced an exchange. This shifted the mid-ring dynamics where it started to evolve into more of a refined battle between mid-range and close range. Toney was generally doing better work when he had a little space to operate, and Jirov was generally doing better when he was crowding Toney up close. And all through this ongoing battle of distance, both boxers were each making subtle movements to try and create more favorable angles. This basic trend continued into round 6, where the bigger battle was now more about range and less about location. Jirov was now fighting much more effectively at center ring because he was able to slightly close the gap where he could out-hustle the challenger. This enabled Jirov to make things more physical, especially when Toney's back was against the ropes. But Toney started countering effectively off the ropes as Jirov was unleashing his attacks up tight. Even with the solid counter shots, Jirov just kept pressing forward, and this was quickly turning into a battle of attrition as things reached the halfway point. The action remained heated as the second half of the fight got underway. Toney and Jirov continued landing short clubbing shots with great regularity. Jirov was generally throwing more, constantly looking to attack, but Toney was generally landing sharper, even if he was a bit more judicious with his output. Both guys were having success with much of what they were trying to do, and neither guy was allowing the other to seize command as the ebb and flow of the rhythm swayed back and forth in this captivating clash of styles. Early in round 8, Jirov had a point deducted by Smoger for throwing another low blow. When the action resumed, they picked up right where things left off, with the two almost taking turns clubbing away at one another. A large chunk of this round saw Jirov trying to work Toney over back against the ropes, but Toney was very sneaky, wisely choosing his spots and landing some blistering sharp counter punches in the midst of Jirov's assault. There were a lot of short combinations being thrown and landed by both, and each man firmly absorbed and withstood the firepower from the other. The bulk of the 9th round unfolded as if it were literally in a phone booth. Almost all of the action was taking place at extremely close range. At times, Jirov was battering Toney in tight and smothering his ability to counter. But at other times, Toney was slipping and sliding inside of the tightest of spaces, and he was sneaking in some crisp counters. Both guys appeared to perhaps be losing a little steam on their shots at this point, but that did nothing to slow down their punch output. Both boxers appeared visibly fatigued in round 10, and understandably so. But despite both displaying signs of physical exhaustion, the leather kept flying. Jirov and Toney were both digging down deep, both absorbing an abundance of punches, and both continued mustering up every fiber of energy at their disposal to try and keep up with the relentless pace of the action. They continued trading, they continued maneuvering for every little inch of space that could provide the slightest advantage, and both exhibited unwavering determination in the midst of this mighty heated battle. Toney looked fresher at the start of round 11, and it didn't take long for the phone booth close quarter battle to resume. But Toney was landing harder and cleaner, and by this point he was generally out hustling Jirov. But Jirov was showing tremendous heart and courage, and he continued giving it his all, although he did start throwing more and more arm punches. Both boxers looked like they were running on fumes, but Toney's superior technical prowess enabled him to continue landing in snappier style. In the 12th and final round, the outcome still felt very much up in the air. It was a very tricky fight to score, where Jirov and Toney were both making very strong accounts of themselves. Jirov had a little extra bounce in his step, and he continued trying to pound away at Toney in the corner against the ropes. And these guys had a scrappy brawl in close quarters, not unlike what largely defined these last few rounds. Brutal shots, back and forth. But Toney's superior timing was giving him the edge in the firefight. Toney appeared to have Jirov hurt with about a minute left in the fight, and still he battled, and the two were drilling each other on raw fighting instinct. But Toney finally overwhelmed the champion, and Jirov was down with less than 20 seconds left. He bravely beat the count and survived the last few seconds until the final bell. At the conclusion of 12 incredible action-packed rounds, Toney was awarded a unanimous decision, with two judges scoring it 117 to 109 and the other having it 116 to 110. Personally, I thought the official scores were a little wide, but no doubt that Toney deserved to win. I thought the knockdown in the 12th and final round sealed the deal for him, and it was a terrific victory for James "Lights Out" Toney, and an overall tremendous effort from both boxers, which helped this one live on as a very memorable classic. For me, when I think of James Toney, this is always the one standout performance that jumps to mind for me. And even though Jirov lost the fight, I think it's probably his most memorable performance as well. This particular clash of styles brought out the best in both boxers and really allowed them to shine under the spotlight. In conclusion, Toney versus Jirov definitely holds a place as a 5-star fight in my personal collection. What a hell of a fight! Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.